Good day, Cochrane. Welcome to another edition of Fireside Chat with Mayor Jeff Genung. I am Mayor Jeff Genung. Today we're coming to you from my favorite old spot here by the fire. We have no flame today because it's Chinooking outside, and that's an Albertan word, Chinooking. So it's so warm outside we don't need to have the gas on inside. So Fireside Chat by the fireplace. All right, let's get right into last night's proceedings of council. We started the evening off with a couple of public hearings. The first one was in regards to R1 setbacks. Staff and about 8 speakers spoke in favor of R1 setbacks, which means the 1.5 meters, so 5 feet of side yards is what's required right now in the land use bylaw. This amendment would see that go down to 4. We've had that in the past in Cochrane. There's a lot of lots already utilizing that 4-foot side yard. Then it was changed a couple years back for some other reasons, and I believe those reasons have not come to fruition or not proven to solve any of the issues that they had intended to, and now staff is proposing that we go back to the 4-foot side yard as a minimum. So more to come on that in the future. The public hearing was last night, of course, and it will be coming to a council meeting for vote. Next, we had staff again presenting an amendment to the land use bylaw as well about notification signs. So I brought one. Here we go. This is what the staff are proposing we do, and council will obviously still vote on this. It was just the public hearing last night where we would hear from the public. We had no one speak, but staff are presenting this to council as the template for all development signs. So if you were to have a development in your residence, or if a lot is to change uses, then you would have to post a sign like this that everyone would have to, everyone would know what you're up to in your development. Then as we get bigger in our developments, say like a subdivision, there would be a really large sign, same format as this, that would show passers-by exactly what's going on and what is proposed. So it's just a way that the planning department are trying to notify and be transparent with the public, and so people know what's going on with properties in question or in development. So obviously council still needs to vote on that to make it a bylaw, but that is what's proposed. We then moved into our council meeting. So it was a fairly busy night. We had a land use bylaw amendment in the bylaw section for R3 district street-oriented townhomes come for first reading. So that will be a public hearing coming for that. We then moved into bylaw 36/2018, which was a land use redesignation for Heartland. There is a section of land there that is currently zoned RM, and the developer is asking that to be zoned differently. So we set the public hearing for that as well last night, so that will be coming back to council. So those two basically giving first reading just means that we start the process to start to hear from people and make it public, and hear from people about, are you in favor or are you not in favor, or what is it that we're trying to do with this. So that was those two bylaws. Next, we had the criteria for off-leash parks. The Parks Department, Mr. Luft, brought forward the criteria that is being proposed that the town use when a off-leash park is proposed in an existing development, so or an existing neighborhood. Sorry. So if, for say, there was a group that came forward that wanted to see an off-leash park in your neighborhood, this is the criteria that the town staff would use to make sure that it fit. So council went back and forth a little bit on the criteria. A lot of work had been done, and it had been given to the Parks and Rec Committee for review. and they brought forward a list of 13 criteria that in the end, council decided that we would like to send it back to that committee for a little bit further review based upon comments from council around setbacks from existing backyards, what does the buffering look like, just a little bit more refining. So that will be coming back to council in the future. Next we had, let's see, I'm getting all mixed up here. Civic partnerships. So Councillor Wilson had brought forward a notice of motion a month or two ago asking us to review our policy for civic partnerships. So that is the process in which community groups would apply for funding from the town. We kind of have an older policy that is trying to utilize the needs of, or facilitate the needs of user groups. So groups could apply to the town for an amount. We have a set policy in which we regard that, and town staff then make a recommendation to council, and council would approve that or not in the budget. So it's been a little bit of a contentious issue. It kind of puts council in a bad position of having to pick one group over another, or you know, we're limited in our resources and funding. We are trying to be good stewards of taxes, obviously, and we would like to have a better process in which we dole out those funds. So that is under review. So the staff brought forward last night the work plan for that. They're suggesting that we strike a committee, and the terms of reference of which will be decided on in the future. So it was just kind of a check-in for information, and everybody seemed happy with the work to date and the plan that is being set forth by the Legislative Services Department. So more to come on that. Next was the big item of the night, which was transit. So as you may be aware, council has been deliberating over the past, let's see, 7 years or so on whether or not to move forward with the transit system in Cochrane. It was one of the things we were faced with in the election as an item that people were either really for or really against. So upon being elected, this council took it upon themselves to really dive into the issue. We formed the Transit Task Force. I was the chair of that. We've done a lot of work and made a presentation to council that we do an on-demand system, which means no fixed route. So there would be no large bus driving around, in the hopes of picking up some random user. This on-demand would be more of well, it's on demand. It's just as the title suggests, that it's only being used when there is demand for it. So, anyways, last night was the award of the RFP. So a proposal was asked for by council, sent out to any any contractor that would like to provide the service for us. This is not a service that the town is going to undertake ourselves. We are not going to have our own bus driver. We are not going to have a bus depot. We are not going to have mechanics. We are not going to be fueling them up ourselves, the buses. We are not going to be taking the fares ourselves. We are not going to be administering the system at all. We are going to contract that out. So last night was the vote on whether or not to proceed with awarding the contract. So I'm happy to announce that council did award the contract to Southland Transportation. They were the best proposal that was put forward. They were under the budget that council had provided in the budget deliberations, and so more to come in the future about how this is going to unroll, how are we going to brand our bus system, what is it going to look like, and where's it going to go. So we have a whole lot of details that I can't cover, unfortunately, all in this video, or it would be even longer, but super happy that we were able to get transit through. It was a 4-2 vote, and it's just I think it's going to, I know it's going to revolutionize transportation, obviously, in our community, but one of the things I ran on was connecting the community. This will do that. Obviously, we still need to do some pathway systems so people can walk and bike to all parts of town and connect to the downtown, but in the meantime, we are going to have a transit system that will do that for us. So we are connecting our community, we are providing transportation that is going to be affordable. It's $2.50 a ride is what we're proposing at this point. So very exciting news that Council is in favor of transit. So that will be rolling out over the next year. So we'll have a pilot in the summer, next summer, for about 2 months, where we will provide a free service so people can get used to how it works and the app. So you'll have your phone, you can dial up the bus and find out where it is on the map, how long it's going to be to get there, and when it arrives. It's kind of like skip the dishes, but it's skip the cars. So we're going to, the other great exciting thing about this project is I'm hoping, well, I know it's going to take some cars off the road. So if we're taking, it's one step towards putting a dent in our traffic. So if we're having a bus out there, and these, by the way, are not going to be the large, massive buses steaming through your communities. These are small, nimble, modern vehicles that will be transporting 15 to 20 people at a time. So it's a made-in-Cochrane solution, on-demand transit, and I'm super excited that we have taken the plunge on that. So more of that to come, obviously, with all the details. We're going to enter in a bit of a campaign to educate and just show people what we're up to and how it's going to work. So that was transit. And that was kind of the biggest thing. Lastly, Council made a motion last night to, again, circling back on this Jones Estate property. Obviously, this has been in the news quite a bit lately. The Jones Estate is the property that we call the piece of land, the 4-ish so acres up in Glen Eagles, that has been undeveloped to date, and it has come back to Council time and time again, 3 times now, for development proposed there that the community has been quite against. So Council basically last night directed administration to meet with the landowner, meet with the Glen Eagles Community Association, and we're hoping that we can find an amicable solution that fits everybody, and then in trying to find an end to this circle of come back, and all of the people in Glen Eagles and the town having to rally to present to Council. And so we just want to find an end to this, and this, by getting people together, having conversations, is the hope that we will find something that suits the landowner and the neighbors, and we can move forward with that in the future. So obviously more to come on that as well. So that was basically the Council meeting in a nutshell. Again, transit was the highlight. You'll be hearing a lot about it in the future here, so stay tuned, and thanks for joining me on this Chinooki day in Alberta, and thank you for tuning in to another Fireside Chat. That's all for now.